Hi, this is Scott Weavil, Principal Attorney with Weavil Law. I'm behind home plate at Dodger Stadium today to celebrate the Dodgers' first World Series win since 1988. Given that the World Series is over, it's the end of October, and we're nearing the end of the year, it's a good time for a quick refresher on keeping your business entity, whether a corporation or an LLC, in good standing and compliant by observing corporate formalities. Although certainly not the most exciting topic in the world, it is an important one. So before turning to how you can stay compliant, what are corporate formalities and why do they matter? Corporate formalities generally refer to meeting annual meeting, filing, and other requirements to ensure that your company is treated as separate and distinct from its owners. That's super important. One of the main reasons for forming a business entity is the liability protection that it gives its owners, known as limited liability. In order to insulate the owners from liability, formalities need to be observed. If the business gets sued, the owners don't want to be on the hook personally, potentially putting their homes and other assets at risk. That can happen if formalities aren't observed. Courts call this by a colorful name, piercing the corporate veil, and you absolutely want to make sure that a court would not look behind the veil of the corporation to the individual owners. So, with that out of the way, what do you need to do to stay compliant? First, you need to make sure you hold any meetings that are required by your governing documents. That's your bylaws if you're a corporation, or your operating agreement if you're an LLC, or that are required by law. Today, we'll focus on what's required by law. For corporations other than close corporations, you need to hold an annual shareholders meeting for the purpose of electing directors. Beyond that, it's generally a good idea to hold at least an annual, or if not more frequent, quarterly board meetings. All of these meetings can be accomplished by written consent. Just make sure you keep records of the written consents. For LLCs, there are no meeting requirements imposed by law, although periodic meetings are typically a good idea for multi-member LLCs so everyone can be informed with what's happening with the business. Second, make sure you make any required annual filings. For corporations, this usually means an annual report and paying franchise taxes. For LLCs, most jurisdictions do not have an annual report requirement, but you will need to pay franchise taxes. You'll also need to make sure you maintain your registered agent, and of course, you're going to need to pay federal and state income taxes. In addition, you may need to register your business in other states if you conduct business there. For example, if you have a Delaware corporation, because that's preferred by outside investors, but you're based in California, you'll probably need to register your business in California. Sometimes that's referred to as a foreign qualification. Note that the foregoing is based largely on Delaware law, the jurisdiction of choice for many businesses for a variety of reasons. But if your business is incorporated or formed elsewhere, make sure you check your state's requirements. Finally, beyond these minimal requirements, it's important to do other things that help demonstrate that your business is separate from its owners. In considering whether or not to pierce the corporate veil, courts often look to the following factors: whether the business keeps an updated stockholder or equity ledger reflecting current ownership in the business, whether the business conducts business in its own name instead of the name of the individual stockholders, and whether the business signs contracts in its own name rather than the names of the owners, whether business bank accounts are kept separate and funds are not commingled with personal bank accounts, whether the business maintains adequate capitalization, that is, cash reserves, given its industry, whether the business maintains appropriate insurance policies, and finally, whether major decisions, such as decisions on salaries and distributions, are accurately reflected in proper resolutions. That's pretty much it as far as corporate compliance goes for the purposes of today's discussion. If you have any questions on this or need help with any kind of business issue, don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Weavil Law.